Hey guys, the Mansplaining Mike Show will begin after this short intro from Gambler Huggins. It's called God, Guts, and Guns. Make sure to give him a follow, guys.
We got a left-wing communist infection. Wide open border with no protection. Main Street media cover-up connection. Lying to the people and stealing their election. If it weren't for the NRA, wouldn't even be a USA. It's God's guts and guns that keep America free. We need a not so subtle truth injection. When they call it revolution, call it insurrection. I'll give that one a big kiss my ass rejection. It'll never pass the test on lie detection. If it weren't for the NRA, there wouldn't even be a USA. It's God's guts and guns that keep America free. It's God's guts and guns that keep America free. Lay it all down on the line for truth and liberty. If old George was alive today, he'd be a member of the NRA. It's God's guts and guns that keep America free. They turned the DOJ into a weapon and pointed it straight at the opposition. They took all the patriots and threw them in jail. Take the thugs out of prison without any bail. If it weren't for the NRA, there wouldn't even be a USA. It's God's guts and guns to keep America free. We gotta stop right now and look and see what the left wing has done to our country. And the only thing to stop them is just you and me. But are we the people guaranteed? From the Minuteman to the Marines and every fighting soldier in between, it's God's guts and guns that keep America free. It's God's guts and guns that made America free. Lay it all down on the line for truth and liberty. If old George was alive today, he'd be a member of the NRA. It's God's guts and guns that made America free. It's God's guts and guns that keep America free. We gotta stop giving money to countries that hate us. Flip the bird to the United Nations. We got blue collar overtax inflation frustration. I'm not giving all work and best reparation. If old George was alive today, he'd be a member of the NRA. Cause it's God's guts and guns that make America free. It's God's guts and guns that made America free. Hell yeah, hell yeah.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Mansplaining Mike with the Mansplaining Mike Show, and by the time this comes out, it'll be the morning of Christmas Eve, and I want to just wish everybody a Merry Christmas and just pray for everybody's health and well-being during these holidays, guys, especially our friends and those that are closest to us. Anyway, guys, this episode's going to be more about the Diddler, and after we talk about the Diddler for a bit, we're also going to take a look at what's been going on with these drones. and how people in America are reacting to them and what people are saying. I heard 78% of Americans don't trust our government. And that's what we're going to focus on today after we get through with the Diddler Chronicles. And we're also going to let Rand Paul explain to us a little bit about these government expenditures. We're spending way too much money, guys, and we got to get that under control. Anyway, guys, let's get into it, see what we think. So this first video is about some new cases that are being brought against the Diddler. I think these are lawsuits that are about to happen. I don't think that they've been charged with he's been charged with these crimes yet anyway. But anyway, guys, let's see what we think about what's going on and what he's accused of.
Thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
I want to ask you, there are dozens of people coming forward. Some to you, some to another attorney, but there are dozens of people. What stood out with these three men to you that made you say, you know what, we need to file this case?
The patterns. The patterns. Whenever you have a serial abuser, they follow a pattern. Harvey Weinstein had a pattern. Sean Combs has a pattern. And with all three of them, the stories are a little different, but the pattern's always the same. Come into my orbit, have a drink, you get woozy, take a rest, wake up to being sodomized. That was the pattern. And it was the same in every single story.
And the details that they told you, can you give me a sense of, was there some detail that sort of stuck with you that said, I have to go forward with this?
Well, I think the person who was his gopher really struck me when he regained consciousness and Sean says to him, I'm almost done, held still. And that struck me. That was a powerful recollection, and I was struck by it, and just the rawness and the arrogance actually that went along with it, and the entitlement. So that was the one that really stuck with me.
I want to ask you, because your clients are filing for now anonymously.
Correct.
Why?
Every single one of them, after the rapes, were threatened. They were threatened with physical harm. They were told, if you do anything, it's not going to be good for you. And Sean Combs is not somebody who runs around with a bunch of choir boys, and those threats are very real to all of these men. One of them knew him from the neighborhood, knew the people he ran with, and knew that these were not empty threats. These were not a bunch of lawyers in offices somewhere. These are guys who can follow through, make your life end, cause you physical harm. So they were terrified.
You know the law better than I do, that defendants have to be able to face their accusers. And in another case, a judge did say, look, this was filed anonymously, but you now have to reveal your name. And she did indeed reveal her name. Are your clients willing, if that's what transpires, to
If it comes to pass, that's a discussion we'll have to have. I think my own personal opinion as somebody who represents people who are the survivors of abuse is there's another device by which the abusers try to abuse them and intimidate them. So I think, frankly, if it was me and I was in Washington or I was in Albany writing the law, I would say any abuser should be able to proceed anonymously, but that's just not the law. They leave it to a judge.
We know that there are several cases going simultaneously,
Correct.
Including a criminal case. Has anyone contacted you or your clients from the federal government, from federal investigations, to ask for details to?
Not at this time. Not at this
Not
time.
this
No.
time.
No.
Okay.
But we only filed it, in the last few days.
I know you saw what Combs has said about your clients. Full of lies. These stories are full of lies. What do you say to him and his attorneys?
Well, what else are they going to say? They're not going to say they're true. They're going to say the typical thing that's said in every single one of these cases, that these are untrue, it's made up, it's phony, it's just a monetary shakedown. What else can they do? He's sitting in lockup in Brooklyn right now, charged with these very same things. And he really has no defense other than to badmouth the people who are suing him, badmouth the lawyers, and that's what he's doing.
Your case stands out in several ways, but it highlights men talking about, what they say happened and talking about sexual abuse. How difficult is it for the clients to talk about sexual assault? And how often how rare is it for men to come forward?
Well, the one thing I've learned is statistically 9% of all rapes in this country involve men that are reported. I think it's no different for men than women to come forward. I think anytime somebody's a victim of sex abuse, it's difficult. It doesn't matter the gender.
Did they have difficulty speaking about
Well,
sexual abuse?
they did. And thankfully, I've done it a long enough time, and I know how to speak to people, and I try to show the empathy and listen to the story and try to make them feel safe, because it's really, they've lost all the power. That's the whole thing about sexual abuse. They take power away from these people. And to get them to kind of communicate can be challenging at times, because it's difficult.
Thomas Gifra, thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
I want to ask.
Yeah, guys, I mean, that's horrible that they have to reveal themselves, but I mean, that's something that just has to be done. I mean, you can't really bring a case forward and not give the other side the opportunity to be able to defend themselves. Your name have to be revealed. That's just the way our system is set up, and it's the best system in the world. I mean, everybody should have the right to be able to defend themselves. Imagine if you had to go on trial and you couldn't do anything at all to defend yourself because you didn't even know who was making the accusation. That wouldn't be really fair. So I don't really know what that lawyer is talking about. He wishes that people didn't really have to do that. But, I mean, you have to. You have to be fair to both sides. In this country, you're innocent until proven guilty. I know a whole lot of people don't like that. A whole lot of people are mad that that was the case with Donald Trump. They just wanted him to be guilty. But that's not how it works, guys. This guy's probably guilty. I think 100% sure, for sure, that this guy is definitely guilty of a lot of this stuff. If not all of it. I mean, there's some of the accusations that I heard that just didn't sound realistic, and there were some people who just made their story sound fake, but a lot of the stories sounded real, really real, and even some of the ones that sounded fake, they might be proven to be true. I mean, you got to give everybody their opportunity in court. And I guess it's being reported that Diddy's about to throw a party inside of jail. I bet that's nothing like the parties he was throwing at home. Unless he likes that. Well, actually, he does like that type of stuff. Maybe it is that type of party. Maybe he's throwing a Christmas freak party inside of the federal jail. I mean, there's a lot of those sissy boys in there. I mean, everybody in jail isn't a tough guy. There's a lot of people who go that way in there, I suppose. So maybe Diddy's really in Disneyland for the sissies. You know what I mean? I always wonder how that would be a punishment for guys like that. You're just locking them up in Disneyland pretty much. Anyway, guys, let's get into this next video. This is about an accuser that claims sex crime at a 2006 Diddy party. So let's see what she has to say. Let's see if we believe it. Let's see how she answers these questions and see if she sounds believable.
Says she believes that she was drugged and assaulted at one of Diddy's parties in 2006. And LaToya joins us live now. This is her first time speaking out since filing this lawsuit just today. We're also joined by her attorney, Ariel Mitchell. I appreciate both of you ladies being with us on a Friday night. LaToya, I want to start with you. Walk us through what happened. I know that your sibling won a contest to go to a Diddy party. You flew out to New York. What happened from there, LaToya?
Well, pretty much everything that happened is in the lawsuit. So I would encourage any and everyone that would like to know the information to read it.
Yeah, I understand. And we've looked at the lawsuit today. I just wanted to hear from you what happened. I mean, because I can imagine you guys won the tickets to go, which must have been pretty exciting. You were in Oklahoma, right?
Yes, sir.
And so you flew to New York. Was it with your sister?
Yes, sir.
And were you excited? I mean, what were you thinking it was going to be like?
Fun, hanging out, the normal parties, getting to take some pictures with some celebrities.
Yeah, I would imagine getting to go to a Diddy party. I mean, now we know that, you know, what was really going on allegedly, but I'd imagine at the time that would have been exciting to win that. What was it? What do you remember it being like when you got there?
Can we just for a second, you know, I don't want to put too much on Mrs. Grayson in terms of answering a lot of questions. Today was already a hard enough day. It did take us some time even, you know, for her to come forward and be able to, you know, talk publicly about what happened to her. So, you know, I hope we can just not pepper her with as many questions about, you know, that night. I know everyone wants to hear from the victims, but it's very traumatic having them relive these things that happened to them. So, I want to make sure I'm also preserving what we need to do for our litigation with Mrs. Grayson as well, and protecting anything that she does say. I like to explain to people in the evidence rules, anything she says can be used against her. But she did want to come forward with all the allegations, with all the individuals that are making, very rarely are you seeing any of the victims actually coming forward. So today she was very brave, and through her, her doubts, wanted to come forward and do this program here today.
Yeah, I understand, and I wouldn't want to put her in an uncomfortable situation, and I understand she just filed the lawsuit. I was just wanted her to explain what she remembers from that night. Maybe you, Ariel, since you, not everybody's seen the lawsuit. I've seen the lawsuit, but people watching haven't read the lawsuit. Maybe you can explain what you are alleging in the lawsuit.
So essentially, it's pretty easy facts. There was a nationwide contest that was promoted where you called in and won an all expenses trip paid to New York, which for anybody, a free trip to New York, even in today's time, will be a great value, a great trip. And then on top of that, the trip, you got to go to a P. Diddy party. So calling a radio station, I've called the radio station to win tickets, not a great prize like you would think she won back then. And this was, back in 2006, during the height of Diddy's career, during the height of Bad Boy Entertainment and the white parties. So that was part of the enticement, was to bring people who knew about these parties, who desired to go there, which is why it was such a successful contest. She went to the party. There was transportation that was arranged, hotels that were arranged. Everything was all paid for, even transportation to the party. What I found to be concerning was that there was transportation to the party, but not from the party. And then at the party, Ms. Grayson alleges that, as you see in the lawsuit, and I want to start encouraging people to go read these lawsuits instead of hearing these sound bites that they see in the news or on social media, because before you go and start to make an opinion, you should go read these lawsuits. They are there, they are free, they are public record. But essentially, she was drugged. She woke up and was in the hospital. Her next memory was being in the hospital. After finally returning back to the hotel, she had to leave shortly thereafter to go back to Oklahoma. And then the next day, she received a call from an unidentified woman telling her that she shouldn't pursue anything against Diddy because it would be a waste of time.
That's crazy, guys. That sounds like a horrible experience. A contest winner, huh? I guess she really lost that one, though, didn't she? I mean, idolizing these celebrities, it seems like it's really the wrong thing to do for a lot of different reasons. Especially for health reasons in this case. Like, it's not healthy to go somewhere, get drugged, and get raped. That can't be a good experience. It can't be good for you. Anyway, guys, let's see what else they're uncovering about Diddy. And this one seems to have something to do with Jennifer Lopez. And there's a couple different stories in here that's about Jennifer Lopez and Diddy. It seemed like maybe J-Lo will be in jail too soon. I mean, I don't know for sure, but it seems like it's definitely a possibility. I wouldn't think she was innocent. Anybody who was around that guy for the amount of years that she was probably knew or saw or heard something. And they chose to just let it go or brush it under the table. Anyway, guys, let's see what they're uncovering about J-Lo.
Potential witness in a lawsuit against Diddy. Derek Lee Cardello Smith, an inmate who is currently in a Michigan prison who filed a lawsuit against Diddy for SA, said that he is going to call Jennifer Lopez as a witness. Notice of plaintiff's submission of a material witness, Jennifer Lynn Lopez, aka J-Lo, aka Jenny from the Block. Kirk Burrows, a former employee of defendant Combs in 1997, and Derek Palmer, who was a New York police officer aware of the defendant's criminal activity, will be called as material witnesses and experts to Sean Combs' viewing, possession, and distribution of his essay upon the plaintiff in 1997. Derek Lee Cardello Smith hereby places the court and the defendant's attorney on notice that the plaintiff is submitting the material witness of Jennifer Lynn Lopez, J-Lo, Jenny from the Block, as a material witness to the following events, and will call Jennifer Lopez as a witness to the events described herein to testify in this matter. Between the time period of January 1st, 1999 through December 31st of 2021, she was forced to view, watch, hear, see, and observe the defendant's essay of the plaintiff by defendant Sean Combs in the 1997 incident described and outlined within the complaint now before this court. Plaintiff states that the material witness Jennifer Lynn Lopez, also known as J-Lo and Jenny from the Block, was engaged in a relationship with the defendant Sean Combs during 1999 and 2001. And that the essay of the plaintiff was recorded, distributed, and held by the defendant at his New York residence and recording studio during the relationship with Jennifer Lopez. He's alleging that J-Lo was made privy to this video that was taken allegedly by Diddy and his former employee Kirk Burrows, and that during the time of the essay, he is alleging that Kirk Burrows was in attendance. He's also alleging that J-Lo has known that this video existed and was in existence, and she allegedly took no action to make it known to anyone in law enforcement, and that she was even questioned by the New York police detective Derek Parker about this matter. He's also alleging that this New York police detective Derek Parker, who he's also calling as an alleged witness, is going to say that this tape was and still remains. He also thinks that the witness Jennifer Lopez is being forced to remain quiet about this type of detailing and the horrible essay of this plaintiff by the defendant. And she's allegedly doing so under pressure and her own victimization by the defendant Sean Combs. This man intends to call Mr. Kirk Burrows as a witness in the matter because not only was he allegedly in attendance with him when he was getting essayed, he also recorded the assault and kept the footage of the essay by the defendant upon this plaintiff. He's calling this officer Derek Palmer because he is familiar with the questioning or the alleged witness Jennifer Lopez and his own referral of this matter to the Detroit Police and Adrian Police Department, and their failure to follow up on this matter, and his own history of the criminal patterns of defendant Sean Combs and Jennifer Lopez allegedly being a victim of Diddy as well. Now, this is one that J-Lo is actually being named in now. Baby, she's being name dropped now. This is absolutely crazy, but y'all let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments. Jennifer Lopez has
that's interesting. I've been saying I thought she was guilty of something. But like I said, you can't be around somebody for year after year after year. Like, Cassie probably knew about a lot of this stuff. I'm surprised she hasn't been brought up on some type of accusations yet. I mean, I think J-Lo probably had more to do with the sexual assault of people than what that guy's letting on. She might not have joined in with him, but I don't even know if he got molested or raped yet. We're going to wait and find out. I mean, anybody can make an accusation. This guy was in the penitentiary making it, so I mean, we could assume that he needs some type of money, but that doesn't mean he's lying. Just because you go to jail doesn't make you a liar. Anyway, guys, let's keep going and see what else we can uncover. This is some more information about J-Lo, and this is something different, I believe. This isn't about that guy. So let's see what we think.
DJ Investigates just dropped a bombshell in a now viral clip. In a new twist, the YouTube sleuth just claimed that Jennifer Lopez might be the elusive celebrity bee named in a lawsuit against Sean Diddy Combs and Jay-Z.
I think that Alex Spiro might need to calm down and take on less clients because I'm pretty sure he just accidentally exposed who Celebrity B is in the Jane Doe lawsuit against Diddy and Jay-Z.
According to BJ, Jay-Z's lawyer, Alex Shapiro, may have accidentally revealed Lopez's name during a legal filing.
But y'all, look at what it says. Mr. Combs and Miss Jennifer Lopez were both at Lotus and Twirl. Why are we talking about Jennifer Lopez? This is a lawsuit.
This revelation adds a new layer to the already intense case, where an unidentified woman has accused Jay-Z and Diddy of sexually assaulting her back in 2000, when she was just 13 years old. Defense attorneys have weighed in on this speculation. Julia Jania, a noted defense attorney, told Fox News that it's highly unlikely any celebrity would want to be linked to such a case due to the negative publicity. Defense attorney Oleg Nekredin also shared with Fox News Digital that being accused of aiding or participating in such a crime could be devastating for one's career and public image. Jennifer Lopez has deep ties to both Jay-Z and Diddy. Lopez dated Diddy and collaborated musically with him in the late 90s. Around the same time, Jay-Z and Diddy were building their long-standing friendship and musical partnership. This connection fuels the speculation, though no official confirmation has been made regarding Lopez's involvement in the case. While the rumors swirl about her being Celebrity B, Jennifer Lopez continues her career, gearing up for her performance in Bill Condon's Kiss of the Spider-Woman at next year's Sundance Film Festival. Popular YouTuber VJ Investigates just dropped a bombshell.
I mean, I know a lot of people think it's controversial what I'm saying, but anybody who was around Diddy for a long time or amount of years probably has some type of crime that they're guilty of too. I mean, birds of a feather flock together, and nobody can tell me if you were around somebody for some years, there wasn't a chance that you could get away. I mean, there's always an opportunity to slip away from somebody if you're with them for years and you just don't go back, you know? And these are all millionaires. They can all pay for protection and pay bodyguards. I mean, I heard Cassie left once, though, and the guy she was dating, he's some rapper. I forgot what his name was, but his car got blown up by Diddy because Diddy was jealous that she was dating another rapper or something, or dating anybody, I suppose. Now, this guy right here, I saw this video, or a little bit of it anyway. I think this is one of Diddy's lovers. They keep saying he keep breaking into his house and just hanging out there, and it's surprised when he gets arrested or when the cops get called or anything like that. But it sounds like, to me, that he was one of his lovers is what he's claiming. But you guys will be able to make your own assumptions, I guess, because it's not too clear what his role really is over there. But anyway, guys, let's get into it.
Back in 2012 for sneaking in his home in the Hamptons, even though this man said that Diddy knew he was there. While I've been doing some digging, I came across these really strange articles about an intruder who was arrested for sneaking into Diddy's Hampton mansion. And even though this man ended up being arrested, it was super weird because he kept saying that Diddy knew that he was staying there. The man's name was Kameen Taylor, and he ended up getting inside Diddy's house through an unlocked basement door, and he was going through his food, drinking his liquor, and even wearing his clothes. Taylor set off the alarm at 1 a.m., but he managed to convince the alarm company representatives and a police officer that he was a member of Diddy's clan and he was allowed to remain in the home. And he said that they didn't really bother me once I told them who I was. Then at 4 p.m., the caretaker would find him and then called the cops. And he said that I got a good night's sleep, but not anything too special. But this isn't even the weirdest part. He said that he has been going to Diddy's house from time to time since 2001. He said, I stay there a lot, but Sean gets funny sometimes about me staying there. In this first break-in, he tried to pass himself off as Diddy's cousin when the cops found him intoxicated after he took a dip in Diddy's pool. This man spun a story that he was a close personal friend to Diddy and even convinced Diddy's security of the lie when he accidentally tripped off the alarm in the mansion. He said, I really didn't go to Diddy's house because I'm a big fan of his, I really wanted to get out of the city for a while, and I was hoping to stay like 15 to 17 days. Now we know that Diddy's home in the Hamptons is what was famous for the white parties. And now after knowing what we know about Diddy, I am convinced that this man probably wasn't lying. Diddy probably knew that this man would come into his house in the Hamptons from time to time. This man was caught wearing his clothes, eating his food, and even used Diddy's toothbrush. And
what do you think, guys? You think he was one of Diddy's toys or something? You think Diddy was diddling him, or the diddler was diddling him? I mean, I wouldn't doubt it. Diddlers do that type of thing, you know?
to do this more than once, that's absolutely crazy. So I feel like there's more to this story that we probably don't even know. But y'all let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments. Diddy had a man arrested back
Hey, I want to know what y'all think too. Let me know in the comments too. I want to know. I mean, I wouldn't doubt that the diddler was diddling that guy. Anyway, guys, let's get into this next story. This is Al B. Sure talking about how he was put into a coma by the diddler. And we all know that Jamie Foxx was in a coma too, and he keeps alluding to the diddler having something to do with it during his show, during his tour. Anyway, guys, let's get into it and see what we think.
Chicken is good. God is truly amazing. Let the church say amen. This time, a little while ago, I was deep in a coma.
Oh, wow.
I guess we're going to have to watch 50's movie to find out what happened. Let the church say amen. Amen.
Yeah, I know.
It's going to be beautiful. Since we had a 50 Cent show, I have an idea. Now y'all look way too young to even know my music, but it's okay. It's sampled well like a hip-hop artist. So why don't we take this one and do some hip-hop with it? Can I do a little hip-hop? What's that? Let's get this.
Well, that's interesting. He's claiming that he was put into a coma. Jamie Foxx was saying that Diddy had something to do with him being sick and in the hospital and stuff, guys. I mean, it's interesting to see. So on this one, we're going to see Rand Paul talk about how the government is spending way too much money. And Rand Paul is one of my favorite politicians, guys. I mean, it doesn't get too much better than Rand Paul, especially when it comes to cutting the government.
With the road ahead is Kentucky Senator Rand Paul, ranking member of the Senate Homeland Security Committee. Senator, it's great to see you this morning. Thank you so much for being here.
Good morning.
Where are you on this debate? What about 2 reconciliation packages versus 1? And would you support raising the debt ceiling in the first one?
You know, I think 2 versus 1 is not a deal killer either way for me. I think we need to make sure the tax cuts become permanent is the most important. And also important is to make sure we cut spending. We have an annual deficit of $2 trillion, a total debt of $36 trillion. So we have to do something on the spending front, and we have to make the tax cuts permanent. That's a big job. Whether it's 1 or 2 doesn't matter so much to me. On the debt ceiling, I'm one of the conservatives, who's never voted to raise the debt ceiling. But there are circumstances in which I would, and I've put those forward before. I have a plan to balance the budget in 5 years. If we had a speaker with a spine who put forward a budget and a plan to cut spending over a 5-year period to balance the budget, I'll vote to raise the debt ceiling because you still have to add debt during that 5 years. What happens typically, and this is where President Trump is right, since conservatives don't vote for it, the liberals rule the day and they say, we'll vote for the debt ceiling, but only if you spend more and create more debt. So it backfires. But there's another alternative. Rather than getting rid of the debt ceiling, you get a speaker with a spine who puts forward a spending plan that actually encourages conservatives like myself and some members of the Freedom Caucus to join on, and we will support raising the debt ceiling, but only if you reform government. You have to reform government. This is probably the #1 problem affecting the future of our country is this $36 trillion debt, and we have to do something about it. So for me, let's put forward something that cuts spending and then see if we can get all the conservatives on board where you don't need Democrat votes at all.
Well, I think that would be terrific, but unfortunately, each person or some of your member colleagues have their own wish list. I mean, if you don't have tax extensions in the first reconciliation plan, do you lose members like a Mike Lawler from New York who says, no, the only thing that's important to me is renewing the SALT deduction. So if I don't see the SALT deduction in there, I'm a no on the border. I mean, do you lose Republicans if you don't have taxes in the first one?
Well, see, this is sort of the thing is who has the guts to follow through and who doesn't. So Speaker Johnson was faced with, he had to give $30 billion more in subsidies to big agricultural businesses and farms. He did it because some big spending Republicans wanted it. And yet I would have stared them down and said, okay, vote no. Vote no, because we're not going to give more subsidies amidst a $2 trillion deficit. We're not going to give more subsidies and see what happens. So, you know, I think you need strength in a speaker, somebody who can put forward something that actually is going to change the course. I can tell you, if we add $8 trillion in this next administration of debt, people will be frustrated. We have to do a better job on spending, and that means fiscal conservatives like myself and others will continue to stand up on principle, because we're afraid we're going to destroy the country. We're afraid they're going to destroy the currency. We're afraid that we're getting to a cataclysmic point. Social Security's running out of money. Medicare's running out of money. Somebody has to stand up and say, enough's enough. We don't have any more money.
Yeah. And to that end, that is why you had lots of...
I think we've been at that point, and we just keep on wasting the money. We give it to these foreign countries, and we do things to protect their borders while our border is overrun. Our debt is increasing. We can't afford to keep giving away money and printing up money. When you print up money, it loses value. I mean, guys, this isn't a sustainable path that we're on right now. I mean, I hope Donald Trump can get us on the right path, and I hope we can keep that going in the future. But the only way we can do it is by just voting for America First candidates. If we vote for anybody else, we're screwed. Look how much debt we're already in. How much more of that do you think we can take?
Drama over the week, this past week, with critics circling the wagon around Mike Johnson. You just said he doesn't have a spine, and you tweeted out this week: the Speaker of the House need not be a member of Congress. Nothing would disrupt the swamp more than electing Elon Musk. Think about it. You write, nothing's impossible, not to mention the joy at seeing the collective establishment, a.k.a. the Uniparty, lose their ever-loving mind.
That would be a great Liberal Tears episode. Imagine all the liberals crying because of that one. The only thing about that is I never forget that he wants to implant computer chips in our brains. So I don't really trust him either. But he's a whole lot better than a lot of these Democrats anyway. Maybe we could get spending under control, or at least that's what I would hope for. But anyway, guys, let's keep going and see what else Rand Paul has to say.
Minds. Were you serious about this, considering Elon Musk for Speaker?
You know, it might have been a little tongue-in-cheek. I think Elon's got some important stuff to do, building rockets and making Teslas. But I do appreciate his input, and he has changed the debate. He's drawing attention to the things I've been talking about for a decade, the waste. Tomorrow we'll be celebrating Festivus, you know, the made-up Seinfeld holiday. But in that, we will be talking about a lot of the waste we've talked. I mean, ridiculous, crazy things. For example, $760 million spent at the NIH on diversity, equity, inclusion. I thought they were studying science over there. Nope, it's about race. That's crazy. $600,000 to discuss why there are microaggressions among obese Latinx. What does that even mean? Even Latin American people think Latinx is a stupid term. These are people who can't figure out their gender, Latinx, who are fat, who are having microaggressions against each other. This is the insanity. This is why we can't rest until we cut spending, and we can't just raise the debt ceiling without actually cutting spending.
Do you guys think our money should go to investigate how obese, transgender Latin people are Hispanic people are feeling? You think that's a good thing to spend our money on? Let me know in the comments below.
Yeah, I look forward to your list tomorrow on this Festivus holiday, the made-up holiday, where you're going to come up with all of that. That's incredible, that list that you just gave us right there. But, Senator, are you saying you'll support Mike Johnson, or you're not supporting Mike Johnson? Do you have somebody else in mind that you want to see as Speaker?
Well, you know, I don't get a vote because I'm in the other body, but I would say that I did get one vote about 4 years ago. I got one vote for Speaker. I think Donald Trump has gotten a couple of votes for Speaker. I think it's good to mix it up and let them know we are not happy with the job they're doing. But really, someone just has to. People at home say, well, why don't we control the power of the purse? We elected Republicans. Why don't we have the power of the purse? And people say, well, the Democrats control the Senate. So I say, well, what does that mean? We have 50% of the power of the purse. No, I think we exercise zero because they're so afraid of shutdown, so afraid of Democrats. They pre-decide, they pre-negotiate with themselves. They give Democrats everything they want. We should stand firm, and the House should put forward a budget that balances. The Democrats put forward an exploding budget, and somehow you come to a compromise. Instead,
shutting down the government would have been the best Christmas gift ever, guys. Imagine that. The government worrying about their jobs and worrying about, hey, maybe we might not be able to get our grubby hands on any more of the taxpayer dollars. What are we going to do? And all the rest of us will be better off. We don't need a big federal government. I mean, at times we need them to do certain things like what they're supposed to do. Protect the Constitution and protect the border. Other than that, we don't need them. And they haven't been protecting the border. So what do we need them for, right?
Republicans in the House, the Speaker, give up in advance, give the Democrats everything they want, and the continuing resolution didn't do anything to curb spending. We added $330 billion in spending just this last week in Congress. I voted against it, but the Speaker went along with it.
Senator, real quick before you go, are you going to be supporting all of President Trump's nominees for his cabinet?
You know, I couldn't be happier with his nominees. I couldn't have picked better. I mean, some of them are people exactly I would have picked. Marty McCary at FDA, Jay Bhattacharya at NIH, Bobby Kennedy, Kash Patel, Tulsi Gabbard. I mean, just the list goes on and on. Pete Hegseth, good people. And yes, the vast majority I will support. On day one, we'll try to get Kristi Noem through Department of Homeland Security. Russ Vogt for OMB. We're going to work hard to get, I think in the first week, you'll have a half a dozen of them approved in the first week. I will control one committee, and that committee I pledge to get them through as quickly as possible.
All right. We'll be watching your work, Senator. Great to see you this morning. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Well, let's hope so. We got to get rid of some of this government spending that's going on. I'm really excited about Doge, too, guys. That's going to cut out a lot of the government spending. When we get Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy getting rid of some of the swamp, I mean, that's what we really need. The swamp is taking over. They've made our lives miserable. I mean, this last 4 years, I don't know how it was for you guys, but it's been hard. It's been hard to even know if we're going to be able to afford gas and groceries. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm sure you do if you're living in America. If you're not living in America, it's probably even worse for y'all. Anyway, guys, let's keep going and see what else we can come across.
Unelected people with too much influence over the government. I invite them to pick up the Wall Street Journal from this week and find out that unelected people have been running the government for the last 4 years. I hear Democrats criticizing the influence of billionaires on our politics when you've got this Soros punk running around collecting Democrat politicians like my kids collect Pokemon cards. So I think all the criticism of Musk coming from the left is totally hypocritical, totally over the top, and he is doing something interesting, bringing some transparency to the federal government. It's not your Democrats, criticizing the idea that we have unelected.
I think it's a good idea that we get Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy in there. Yeah, they might be billionaires. They might be out of touch with a lot of us. But hey, it takes a lot of discipline to get to become a billionaire. You don't get that money by spending frivolously. You know what I mean? It takes a lot of saving, and you really got to think about what you're spending it on. And those guys, hey, they become billionaires for a reason. They know how to spend, and they know how to cut spending. And that's why they are where they are. I mean, look at X. It's running great. And Elon Musk cut about half of the people out of there. Fired about half of the people because they were just sitting there. They weren't showing up to work, and they were just unnecessary. They were getting paid for no reason. Anyway, guys, this is from Straight Arrow News. And they're talking about how 78% of Americans believe that the government is withholding drone details. So let's get into it and see what we think, guys.
The overwhelming majority of Americans think the government is hiding something about all those drone sightings on the U.S. East Coast. There's a new CBS News YouGov poll showing 78% of Americans suspect the government is withholding information, and about half of those surveyed see the drones as a potential threat to national security, especially the ones who suspect foreign entities may be involved. The FBI and FAA say more than 5,000 drone sightings were reported in recent weeks. Most cases reportedly involve lawful drones, misidentified aircraft, or even misidentified stars. But answers like that aren't cutting it for many Americans, including some on Capitol Hill. Intelligence officials recently held a classified briefing for lawmakers. Agencies like the CIA and Department of Defense reported no evidence tying the drones to foreign actors or malicious activity. White House National Security spokesperson John Kirby said the sightings likely involve commercial, hobbyist, or law enforcement drones. Some lawmakers, however, remain dissatisfied. Representative Scott Perry criticized the lack of detailed information shared during the briefing, and Representative Raja Krishnamurthy called for more data to support claims that manned aircraft were mistaken for drones. Again, there is no evidence tying these drones to any foreign actors, but that's not stopping the speculation from spreading that foreign actors could be involved. Representative Michael McCall suggested certain drones could be linked to China, describing them as, quote, adversarial. Former President Donald Trump and others called for greater transparency, or failing that, immediate action to remove the drones from U.S. airspace. If this is a U.S. military exercise, like a test to see how our air defenses might do detecting smaller drones, it's very possible certain elements within the government know the truth about what's happening, but can't publicly disclose that information because of operational security. With investigations ongoing, however, the gap between official explanations and public perceptions remains wide, and federal agencies will continue facing pressure to provide more clear answers as concerns over these drone sightings keep growing. For more of our unbiased, straight fact reporting, download the Straight Arrow News app today or log on to san.com.
Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope you got some type of information about it. It didn't get too deep into the drones, but it had some information about how Americans really aren't trusting it, guys, and I mean, you really shouldn't. The government has a lot of plans for us, and they're enacting them slowly but surely. Look up Project Bluebeam or Operation Bluebeam. Learn about what it is. Learn about what the effects could be. Maybe I'll do a show about that in this week. Maybe we'll talk about Operation Bluebeam. That might be interesting since it's coming up in a lot of different people's podcasts recently. Anyway, guys, this is the Mansplaining Mike Show. I'm Mansplaining Mike. I hope you enjoyed the show. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share this with some sissy liberal who will cry about it for the next 6 months. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. I'm out.